Chinese phrase Sudoku. It's about collecting books but never reading them. The Chinese phrase Sudoku, meaning to buy books but never read them. Yeah, we about to in a minute. We just getting started, fam. Mm-hmm. We just getting started. Saturday. I'll be going back Saturday, and then I'll be going to Sacramento, and then we just purchased some more land, but I think everything gonna go right in St. Louis. We're gonna have this unit. We're gonna turn it into the Noble House. So everything is in the making. Mm-hmm. Yep, everything good. Everything good. Yep. I'm TikTok. I said TikTok, and on my personal YouTube channel. And you can follow on. Thanks for the donation too, man. I appreciate it. No, I don't get donations on. I ask on my handle is all type of ways people can donate, but most people usually don't donate. But it's all good though. I thank you for supporting, man. And yep, man, it's all good. Allah is the best of planners. A lot of my family just gonna watch. A lot of my nieces and nephews, they gonna watch us win. Cause we winning over here, man. Nope, no losing. We straight up winning. So I knew it was gonna happen, but gratitude to you and your family and your mom, and for the prayers for my mom. Thank all y'all, man. Yep, her last chemo was today. Yep. So she got to do that. Couple things of that. Yep, absolutely. So thank you. Tell your family thank y'all for the prayers, man, and the kind words and just everything, man. Yeah, I'm live now. I like to wait a couple minutes, so we good. I got a couple seconds more, and I'm gonna jump on. Gratitude. Peace. All right. Peace, everyone. Peace, love, and light and illumination to everyone. Like I said, if you're not here to learn, I'm gonna block you. If you're here to be a troll, I'm gonna block you. We're not entertaining it. None of that stuff means nothing to me. How a person coming with disrespect, it just shows the aptitude of most people. And most people will not say the things to an individual face to face. So once, I'm coming with love and light and illumination. And if you have any questions, please stay in context. I always ask brothers and sisters, stay in context. Stay in context. Stay in context. Don't be all over the place. Don't be all over the place like ADHD, with all due respect, or low attention span. Stay in context. So, before we get into this historical teaching, because we're going to talk about the 100 amazing facts about the misnomer negro by our scholar, rest in peace, J.A. Rogers. A lot of our brothers and sisters don't even know who J.A. Rogers is. A lot of my nieces, nephews, they don't even know who J. Rogers is, because they still go around calling themselves, I'm black this and I'm black that. And that's your fault for the lack of knowing. You keep putting yourself back in bondage. That's your lack of knowledge for not asking the right people, and then putting your left foot before the other. That's your fault. When everybody think they know something and they do things wrong and then they get abused, that's your fault. Because you have people right in your family that have expertise in things, and you don't even seek wisdom. You don't even seek information or someone that can give you sound advice, especially family that be doing business. I have degrees in business. I have real businesses. And then I have nieces and nephews that open up, that do businesses and don't even consult me before you do a business, and make sure you're doing it the right way. Make sure all your T's crossed. Make sure all your I's dotted. Make sure you operating as a perfect entity. Make sure you know everything that you're doing is right, and what we do, we don't. And then when we suffer and get abused, we act like, oh man, somebody did me wrong. But then the powers that be say, you didn't seek sound counsel. They like, you got an administrator, a brother that's in your family, that's anointed and consecrated and educated, and you ain't even seek him. That's what I'll be saying. Our own people, our own family can be Gentiles. How? Because they go outside the family. Point blank, they go outside the family. That's why a lot of people be Gentiles, because we do things and get abused, and they be like, did you talk to your uncle that has a degree in what he talking about, that has real businesses, that's anointed and consecrated? Nope. Who did you talk to before you did this? Who did you counsel? No one. No one. We don't talk to no one, and that'd be our problem. And that's why when our parents and stuff is going on in glory, brothers, we don't take advantage of the right people we have in our own family. I'm going to continue to say it. Why? Because if the European deal with me, if they pay me, if I teach their kids and things, and I have family that's trying to do things, and they know this is my expertise, and they don't even talk to me and seek counsel, man, that's your fault. That's your fault. And I mean it. We the only group of people that do that. There's something wrong with us. There's something wrong with us. And the reason why I can say this is because I live in Arizona. I always ask people, where you getting this stuff from? Who told you this? What expertise? Who got your best interest? Nothing. I ask my nieces and nephews, they talk about church. They don't learn nothing in church. And I say, so why are you going? Why are you giving them the money and you don't support your uncle? Why are you giving these people money? They not answering none of your questions. Why are you going for? Tell me what you're going for. Because you're an adult now. If you're not learning nothing, tell me why you're going. Can't even tell me. I be asking family this, and we have our own brother, our own cousin, our own uncle, our own nephew that's anointed and consecrated. What we looking for? That's why I be saying we lost. Families is lost. And just because you might be in a family, a lot of people family are Gentiles. Because I'm telling you, facts of the matter. We don't take advantage of what we have in our own families. If I got an uncle that not only open businesses, but have real college degrees in business management with marketing and sales and nonprofit business startup and for-profit startup, I know this for a fact. I know this. Before I do any type of business things, I'm going to at least counsel my uncle. I'm going to at least talk to my cousin. Why? Because I know he's going to give me something that's right. And I know he's going to tell me something that I might not have thought of, because I might have been thinking in my personal ego, which you might be making this decision based on how you feel. And if you make any business decision based on how you feel, it's the wrong decision. And how people can make the wrong decision? Names, DBA, how you doing business as. Why? Because you ain't counsel nobody. And people be upset. I say, this is business 101, man. Come on. This ain't even business 101. Most people need to take a prep class, what, a 9-8 course, a 9-9 course before you even go to one-on-one. Why? Because you have to learn how to listen first. A lot of our adults and our middle-aged family members, they don't even know, they don't even take sound advice. They don't even take the right counsel with someone that's done it. That's on paper that say it's a template of everything. Now execute it. But if you don't know the template, if you don't even know what the template consists of, how can you say you know what you're doing? You basing everything on emotion and how you feel because you don't know the template. These is facts, man. And so when we go through things, just like my sister was just here, my family know I got the template. I tell everybody, oh, you part of an organization that's tax exempt for the federal government, then y'all should be able to do this. Y'all should be able to establish here and don't pay no taxes, X, Y, Z. I teach this. I teach people, we've been taught the wrong way. We done gave everything away to someone. Oh, this is the other man's stuff. That's your problem. And then when we go in business, you done mix your personal business and your business that's supposed to be on its own entity because you don't seek sound advice. I'm telling you, me and my mom and my dad just talked about this. My sister know this. I'll be like, they ain't talk to me. You're supposed to have somebody always in your best interest, even when you're dealing with law. I don't care if you got an attorney or a lawyer. I hope you got somebody in your best interest that can give you precedent in law cases, doc number, Free Information Act, quid pro quo, Chicago Law Review, all those things that an attorney might act like they don't know what's going on. You know? And I'm going to show you everything that happened in those chambers. Why? Because that's my job. I'm telling you. And people can be upset all they want to. You should want someone to be sharp. You should want someone to be eloquent that can be like, no, if you do this, this was going to happen. Like I told everybody. And people was like, man, these people didn't talk to you, Sheik? I said, no. But I said, this was going to happen. Like I knew a young brother in Flint. I told people what was going to happen. He was going around cooking in his car. I said, oh, he going to get shut down. People said, why you say that, Sheik? I said, because, oh, he not cooking in the prep kitchen. And then you advertise and you put one foot before the other. Sure enough, he had to get on social media and apologize. Yeah, I got shut down. The health department came to my place. Yeah, no SHIT, Sherlock. No SHIT, Sherlock. This all I be telling people. And then you dealing with all type. You're dealing with people hating and you're dealing with people with competition. What? You competition. If somebody else doing it and they see you doing it and you ain't all the way, you competition. In certain geographical areas, certain people that you dealing with certain geographical area and consumers. It's all type of things you're dealing with. So the odds of you not being legit is detrimental to what you're doing. And there's no reason for you not to be legit. I tell all my people, that's how you don't get shut down. But we don't pay for sound counsel. And that's what I tell people. We pay for partying and BSing. Partying and BSing. That's what we pay for. Party and BS. Party and BS. Because I can say three things on here, and people that may have a business or started a business, I can say three things and they'll be like, no, I ain't got that. No, I ain't got that. No, I ain't got that. And then I say, well, you paying for everything out your pocket. And your business is not even known on the Duns and Bradstreet. So your business is not holding its own 2 feet. You know? So everything you purchase for your business, you buying it out of your pocket. You don't have no articles of organization. You don't have nothing set up a certain way. You don't have a relationship with these industrial companies where you're getting a lot of your toilet paper, your napkins and all that stuff. You have none of those. You have none of that set up that way. Why? Because your paperwork ain't right. And anybody can get on here and they be acting like it is. And I'll be like, dude, I know it's not. I know it's not. Why? Because I know you don't know how to do it. That's why. And I know if you do have it, you done got hustled by somebody and you done paid astronomical amount of dollars to get something done that you could have got done for a donation to your uncle, to your cousin, and could have stirred you the right way. These is facts. I know this all day. I'll be laughing. I'll be watching everybody go backwards. Yeah, somebody help me do this for about $1,500, $2,500. I said, man, you could have did that. I could have did that for you for a small donation. Like, you done wasted your time. Anybody ain't gave you no trade line. That all that stuff cap. All that stuff cap. I could have did all that stuff for you for a small donation, and then guided you, and then you could have been a witness. You could have been like, yeah, man, that brother, everything y'all talking, no, this brother helped me do this in a couple of seconds. Boom, boom, boom. I gave that brother a donation. He didn't charge me nothing. He said, this is the suggested donation. This brother helps. That's why I'd be laughing at people. I'd be like, dude, you got any type of business and your business ain't operating on its own entity. I don't care what you call it. I don't care if you call it the McDonald Dairy Farms. If it ain't set up the right way in its own structure, and you don't have it set up the right way with your own articles of organization, and you purchasing things for your business out of your own pocket, you wasting your time. I'm telling you, if your business has been in business for X amount of time and it's not recognized on the Dun and Bradstreet, and it don't have a high line of credit, then how is you financing your business? You will never go to the next level. I know people don't know what I'm talking about. I know most people that have businesses, they go use their own personal debit card. And I say, so you using your own personal debit card to finance your business, so you don't have your articles of organization in your business, you doing DBA, and that's on the Duns and Bradstreet, and you got these relationships with all these different quick 30 accounts that help you build your business line of credit. Quick 30 accounts are things that you pay off in 30 days. I show people the strategy, not a scam, how everyday life can build your line of credit. And people don't understand it. That's why I be looking at people, especially my family members. I say, oh, you're going to have to go all the way backwards. And they be upset. I say, you're going to go backwards. A lot of people be fronting saying, oh, yeah, I got my business set up the right way, and then I do the proper checks and balances. I say, man, the person can take your whole business name. Well, that's me. No, that don't matter. I don't care how long you say it's you. You don't have it. It ain't registered right. I'm telling you, man. If I can tell y'all something I did with politicians, they were like, man, you so brilliant. I said, man, hey, it is what it is. I know how to do things. It's like when politics come around, local politics, I already have domains in politicians' name, last name. Why? Because I do business. So if you want it from me, you're going to have to buy it from me. See, this is strategy. These are things that people talk about in certain areas. They be like, dang, how do you know this? Because it's different conversations in different rooms. This is what I tell people. Like, hey, you must structure yourself up in a certain way and get relationships with all these other places. You know, you can use your money to spearhead what you're doing, but then once you get to a certain level and you operating right and you responsible, you know, with them quick 30s, you will see how your business line of credit will go through the roof, and you'll look on Duns and Bradstreet and you'll be able to do X, Y, Z with that DBA. I'm telling you. And then that really becomes a certain trade line per se, which most people on here really have no idea what that really means. I know this is facts. Right, watch. It's a Japanese word, y'all. Write this down. TSUNDOKU. TSUNDOKU. That's a Japanese word. But I know brothers and sisters don't be having their affairs in line. And the funny part about it is when family members and friends don't be having their affairs in line, and I don't have to say specific names, I just know a lot of times people don't have their affairs in line and they won't even admit it. Like, man, you're right. Like, I don't have it in line. They'll be upset and won't come around you and won't speak, but I don't care. Man, like, I could talk about a lot of stuff. Like, I told people about those pyramid schemes and no Ponzi schemes. When people talk about they dealing with Forex and all that stuff, I said, man, that's a pyramid and a Ponzi scheme. Anybody that dealt with that, I bet you ain't made no money. I bet you ain't made no money. I bet you anybody promoting that, they say, oh, do you like your job? You this, you this. I bet you ain't made no money. All I just say is show me your portfolio. The time you put in doing that, investing in that, and the time you put in, tell me what money you made, what profit. I bet you a negative. I guarantee you, I bet you a negative. Anybody. If people be honest, I bet you it's a straight up negative. And these people not even smart as Bernie Madoff. That's why I be laughing. I say, man, all this stuff done came to me. I tell people I'm getting ready to be 50 in January. I know game. I know when a person's not educated. I know when they huffing and puffing. I know when your business is not right. Why? Because there's a certain language. And if you smart with any little tittle of wisdom, if you have someone in your family, you're going to what? Seek counsel. Help is not after the fact. Help is before you even start doing things. That's before things. That's beforehand. This is what I keep telling people. It's like, if I want to learn something, I'm going to go to a master. I'm going to go to this first. Why? Before I jump into anything, first, I got to get my mind right. You know, I want to know. I have to be under that type of study. That's why I say a rite of passage is needed. You know, I tell people everything what's gonna happen. If this is not done the right way, or you doing business and you showing everything on social media, you will be shut down. Why? Because that's just how it goes. People be saying, "Oh, they deal with Forex." I said, "I know you ain't made no money. I know you ain't made no money." Morris be talking that all day. Your social security is attached to some millions. I'd be like, your social security number ain't attached to no millions. I'd be like, if my social security number is attached to some millions, you should have the millions. Like, who do you really think you talking to? That's why I be saying, like, do you really think that some people out here walking around with a helmet on their head? And people be regurgitating this stuff. Yeah, man, you know your social security number is attached to $1 million. Well, it ain't $1 million. It's a $1 million line of credit. Well, if mine is, yours is too. Show me your $1 million line of credit. Like, are we? What we thinking? And this is the conversations that people be having. Oh, we got to cancel corporate. You don't have no corporate debt. Like. Come on. That's why people be coming to me with all those poor games. Talk about they dealing with the stock market. No, you not. Man, no, you not. You're not dealing with no stock market, especially dealing with no automated, so-called investing. You not. That's a number one a warning. When you hear people say that should be like a warning. That should go off. But people not educated enough and not astute to ask the right questions, because they be selling you. It'd be like that influencer. It's a book called The Influencer. That's why I said all this stuff is a Jedi mind trick. Oh, the reason why you this because you're not doing this. It's a lifestyle. You always see them always wearing what's the name? Canal Street clothing and belts. You know. It's a lifestyle. That's why I be laughing. I be like, come on, man. And it flooded over into with a lot of Moors that act like it's some magical thing going on. And then with everyone with their businesses. And you know what I tell people? I say, listen, your business is not right. Your business is not set up the right way. You know, and if y'all like the teachings, man, like my home, what he say, tell them to share the teachings. Yeah. Right. Because the truth will make you free. What do we know? We should know who we are. We should know business. We should know history. We should understand doing things lawfully. We should seek sound counsel. How? So when we go out there, when we present ourselves, we present what? The best. We coming the best. We ain't coming, how can we say, not prepared. And then you will say, yeah, Sheik is my uncle. And they'll say, how Sheik is your uncle? And this is his parameter. This is his expertise. And you came out the door unprepared. The first thing they'll say, I know you ain't talked to him. And you'll be like, yeah, I know I didn't. And I'll be like, yeah, I know they didn't. These is facts, man. I know this for a fact. I know what I'm talking about for a fact. When I talk about quick 30 accounts and articles of organizations and XYZ and making sure all those things are set up before you even promote things on social media and all these things, before you even choose a name to operate your company in. All these things, those things need to be agreed upon by who? Your board, if it's not just you, because your thoughts might not be the right thoughts. It can put a hindrance on everything you're doing, and we don't think about that. You're supposed to do a SWOT analysis on everything. What? Your strength, weakness, opportunities, threats. You know what I mean? All those things, a SWOT analysis. You're supposed to do that on everything that you're doing to make sure, you want most things to be in your favor. Especially if you're dealing with business and you're dealing with the public, if you buying or selling, especially if you're selling, then I say, well, who's your demographic? Then you got to know who your demographic is. Because if you think your own skin kind, your demographic, when you're going in business, you lost. If I thought me going into history and education and spirituality to do this for my family, I would have been gave up. But I see what the Creator showed me is bigger than my family. Because family has nothing to do with birth and blood. That's what the Creator showed me. That's why I'm a living testimony, how I got brothers all over.
and be able to go to all these different religious houses and go and deal with European Masons, and they buy my books and they let me teach their children, and they like, your people the ones that sleep. Because they know. Why? Because they study us to a T. This is what I'm saying. The history is there. And so for myself and for other individuals that look like me, I said, man, we got a lot of growing up to do, especially family now. I keep telling people, we can't keep making the same mistakes. That's insanity. We can't keep making the same mistakes. That's insanity. We can't keep, just like family, go to church each week, but then you on my page each week. And I bet you get a church Reverend Pork Chop donations. I bet you give Reverend Pork Chop money when you go sit up there and listen to him be going to sleep on your phone, being there stitching, making your cat booties and stuff. But you know what I mean? But come to my teachings and won't give 13 cents. Won't even help me buy no rice. And I have family, and I say, there ain't nothing wrong with what you're doing. But the same people be on my page each week. And then I say, well, man, can I get $2? And I'm being sarcastic, I can't even get $2. But I got family and friends that go to church each week and then be telling me, man, I don't be learning nothing at the church. I'll be like, huh, you hear what you said? I don't be learning nothing. But I'll be on your page each week. Man, I'll be learning so much, man. Man, when you gonna get your temple? I play devil's advocate. I say, if I get my temple and you come physically, would you donate? Yeah. I say, well, why don't you donate now? I say, why don't you donate now? Why? You look right in my bio, all my information there, and I graduated, and I'm part of Real Brotherhoods. That's why I be telling. I say, I got family that's following me right now, that go to church each week and then be asking me, and then to sit in front of me, and ask me, well, I went to church in the past, this, I don't know this. And then I explain it and show them esoterically and exoterically. They go right to church the next week, happy, joy, happy, joy. Get up there, it's donation time, donate, boom, come right on my page each week and listen, and don't give me $2. Why I can't get $2? At least you will see it do work in the community. You will see the money being circulated. We paying for people's lifestyles, with all due respect. And I'm not talking about nobody. I say if the shoe fit, wear it. I'm saying in general, if the shoe fit, wear it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, matter of factual. What do you say, man? Tell them to like it on, yeah, man, we good. I say this all the time. I'm like, man, you can't sit a person down right now and tell me what they learned from church. And do they have Bible study? Or do they just go just because their friends go and it's something to do? You're not learning nothing. When I say when you have Bible study in Sunday school, where I say, well, what is the Bible study? Do you go to Bible? Do you go to biblical study? You can't tell me nothing. Most people can't tell me nothing about nothing with respect. And I always try to tell my nieces and nephews, family that know me, especially the ones that's doing business. I said, why you haven't talked to me before you decided to go in business? To make sure you crossed all your T's and dotted your I's. To make sure when you go in things, you don't have to go backwards and stop doing what you're doing. Why? Because you didn't do your due diligence. Like I would have told you, like I would have showed you off top before you start posting stuff on social media. This is called due diligence, man. This is what I be telling people, especially my nieces and nephews. I say, man, I didn't go to academia to be no gatekeeper, to run away from everyone and not be able to share nothing with y'all. I can just work in academia and take some change. But I do a plethora of things to say, well, I have to do these plethora of things to be free. I don't have no problem with it. But when I go get this wisdom and the other man sits beneath me and I thought I'd be able to come back, to come back, it's like, man, I thought it'd be something. What my mediator said, he said, we got that dude email, don't worry about it, Sheik. Man, nah, we ain't worried about nothing negative, man. The thing I tell people on social media like YouTube and all this, you're going to deal with all type of people. You don't know if they are children trolling or if they adults. If they're adults, that tell you the aptitude of them. If they're children, their parents gonna chastise them once they get emails. You know, so I don't even deal with that, man. You know, but like I said previously, that's what social media does. The world is so disrespectful, and you see people that don't know anyone that to take the time out their day to actually type stuff on somebody's page, and all I'm gonna do is block it and give it no time of day. And so when you're dealing with social media, that's what you get. But I always tell people as I proceed, when you come on my page and you stay on my page and you type, you pinging off a tower. I told the last person this, and then I put the camera right on their house with all them nasty cats. Had that old 19, what was that, a 92 Chevy Cavalier in the driveway. Had all them, I call them skadiddles. You know, in Flint, we call them roaches. Had all them roaches in there, you know? Yeah, That's what I be telling people. I said, so we have to stop playing. Everybody, you pinging off a tower. I just want you to know that. So, oh yeah, we on good time. So I broke a couple things down for y'all in a piece of literature called "The 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro." A lot of times when I was getting my dual master's degree at GCU, I was able to do lectures and speak, and we had a thing called the College Roundtable, where a lot of the college students, they have money, you know, as college students for lecturers. And, you know, they'll give money to lecturers, you know, the ones that they want to speak on specific things. So for myself, I always would speak on history books or just whatever a lot of the students asked. What they was always asking is to speak on a lot of our ex-scholars' historical books that a lot of them knew about, that a lot of the misnomer black students didn't know about, like J.A. Rogers and Carter G. Woodson, and just, you know, a lot of books that they had in their doctoral library, along with a lot of other pieces of history that a lot of brothers that went to the, how can I call it, misnomer historic black university never knew of. And so I was able to just talk about these things and lecture these things in academia from no biasness with professors, you know, with people that's historians that don't have a dog in a fight. And so a lot of books I was able to break down and summarize. So I'm going to just start with a couple chapters in the 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro with a complete proof unveiling blacks' history's impact on the world civilization, you know? So a lot of this stuff I have auto books. I have the hard copy book as well. But I don't know if any of us know of J.A. Rogers. A lot of my nieces and nephews, I know for sure they don't know who J.A. Rogers is. I wouldn't even, you know, a person say, yeah. No, they don't. Most adults don't even know who J.A. Rogers is, you know? So when we talk about J.A. Rogers, influential 1957 work, 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro with Complete Proof, it's so much history, you know, in that piece of literature. Of course, he got other books, you know, 5 Negro Presidents, historical stuff that really Prince was talking about a little bit. He was talking about it a tittle, but not all the way. But we're going to talk a little bit about this piece of history book. And I may do a couple chapters because I broke like 25 chapters. 25 chapters, we broke them all down. So we'll start off when I'll just say chapter 1, 100 Amazing Facts, right? So the introduction of that book, right? The chapter begins with a quote from Shakespeare, reflecting on the complexity of existence, followed by a quiz to stimulate thought and the historical and social context of African Americans, right? So in that, we broke down like quiz questions because a lot of things I'm able to break it down for a kid can do it. And I make things, chapters, I make them teaching moments. That's something that I did at the university and I still do now with so many books. They're like, well, you can take this and you make syllabus and this and that and the other. They're like, that's amazing. And so that's pretty much what I'm showing right now. And so I'm gonna break down one of the quiz questions. differences in population characteristics between African Americans and other U.S. groups, historical context of the war sparked by the enslavement of a Negro woman, legal discrepancies regarding interracial marriage within an American state, the role of an African American girl in in saving George Washington, Lincoln's controversial actions regarding free Negroes, a vice president publicly denounced for his racial features, additional extraordinary facts about the 13th Amendment beyond the abolition of slavery. You know, of course we're not, brother. You see, when people just be talking, I always gotta block people, man, because when they just be talking, and every time somebody talk and just talk, I ain't rocking with it. Because I tell people to stay in context, stay in context, stay in context, stay in context, stay in context. That'd be my whole thing. Context, 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 context. But what we do, we speak, we speak, we speak. I ain't say we was no African American. This is what I be telling our brothers and sisters who Lord Inc., whatever these people say they are. That's what I be telling people. We be so quick to say something. I ain't say we were no African American. If anybody know me and my stance of what I did, you know. But the first thing we do is we always come with that conscious community debating lower self stuff. And that ain't it. So that's why I be removing people. You know? Because it don't make sense. It still don't make sense. It still don't make sense, peace, that people be acting like this on some crazy stuff. I say, man, I ain't never said we were no African Americans. You know? 100 amazing facts. Illiteracy rates show that misnomer white population of New York is more illiterate than the Negro population. Benjamin Banneker, a Negro astronomer, created America's first clock in 1754. The word coffee originates from Ethiopia's kaffa, right? Some science about George Washington exchanging a Negro slave for goods in 1776. A claim that certain diseases like tuberculosis and syphilis were absent among Negroes when they arrived in the New World. And so the overall backdrop of that chapter 1, or overall theme, the chapter uses these quiz questions and remarkable facts to challenge stereotypes and showcase the contributions and historical experience of misnomer African Americans. That's why I don't know why our brothers be so quick to just be in this, like this some conscious community, like this some debate. So this ain't no debate. And if we should go challenge school, go challenge the school your kids go to. Or go back to school if you dropped out and lecture the right way like I've done. The stuff, it doesn't make sense. You know? Oh, we're not this. Ain't nobody say we did, but at the end of the day, people have the right to say whatever, to be whoever they want. The Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15 clearly says you got a right of a nationality and a right to change it, and to claim a child replaces the birth certificate, and no one will be arbitrarily denied of a nationality and a right to change it. So I'm not here to tell nobody what they ain't, or who they are, or what. I know where my family come from. I know my family come from Florida. My father's fathers, I know they come from Florida, earliest 1800s. So nobody's finna tell me this and say, well, what, we're not. You know, that's the thing with a lot of people get on social media all trying to tell us about what we ain't, what we not. Man, I ain't say what we were or what we not. I said, I know who I am. Right? Right. And so the chapter opens up with a quote from Shakespeare, right? Emphasizing the complexity of existence. We know in the 1828 Webster Dictionary what an American is, the copper colored races found here by the so-called Europeans. But we know the freemen were what? Ancient Amazighians, the name we gave ourselves. So when people just be going off at the hammer, I'll be like, dude, I'm the wrong one to be trying to have questions and go back and forth with. Why? Because I said, I've done it with the person that you would be quiet to. That's what I'm saying. I've done this with the people that you will be absolutely, would know, zip your lips up around. And so what we talked about is the difference in population characteristics between African Americans and other U.S. groups, right? Historical context of the war sparked by the enslavement of a Negro woman, right? Legal discrepancies regarding interracial marriage within an American state. The role of an African American girl in saving George Washington, and Lincoln's controversial actions regarding the freed Negroes. A vice president publicly denounced for his racial features. Additional extraordinary facts about the 13th Amendment beyond its abolition of slavery. You know, when I tell people, I say, well, what's the 13th, the 14th, the 15th Amendment and manumission? What's the 16th Amendment? That's a lot of things that our brothers really, really don't have a clear understanding on. We talk about the illiteracy rate reveal that misnomer white population of New York during that time is more illiterate than the misnomer Negro population. We talked about Benjamin Banneker in chapter 1, a Negro astronomer crafted America's first clock in 1754, right? So I'm just highlighting a lot of what was in chapter 1, right? So understanding historical contributions challenges stereotypes and deepens appreciation for the misnomer African American achievements, right? I'll give you an analogy or a parable, or no, not even parable, just an example per se. Imagine you're at a historical exhibit, coming across the name Benjamin Banneker. Intrigued, you learn that he, a misnomer black astronaut, designed America's first clock in 1754. This revelation shatters preconceived notions you might have held about contributions to American history. Just like when you get the book America in Black and White, when it shows you they whitewashed Peter Selman and Oliver Cromwell out the Battle of Bunker Hill. That's why I'll be like, man, it'd be a shame when our own people jump on social media and they start running off at the mouth. Well, we ain't this. Ain't nobody asked you that. Especially these people that done dropped out of high school, showcasing how diverse talent shapes our past. When this happens, you observe this knowledge. We start recognizing the overlooked narratives of misnomer African Americans and how their legacies are woven into the fabric of the nation's story. You hear I said misnomer? I'm using these words for speaking reference. That's why I be telling men, stay in context, but they can't. Their attention span be this fast that they going off on something else. I'll be like, dude, context, please. I'm gonna start doing it like I got Tourette's or something. Chapter 2, summary, ancient civilizations, right? Ancient civilizations. I'm just summarizing a couple chapters in 100 amazing facts about the Negro. Stuff that I did in academia a long time ago. The first artists were misnomer Negro people. With their oldest drawings and carvings dating back over 15,000 years across regions including southern France, northern Spain, Palestine, South Africa, India. Excuse me, I gotta sneeze. Excuse me. The earliest known representation of the human body, the Venus of Willendorf. The Venus of Willendorf, all scholars know what I'm talking about, was carved by a Negro sculptor from the Grimaldi race between 10,000 and 15,000 years ago from these writings. Beethoven, renowned as the greatest musician, was a dark mulatto known as the Black Spaniard, and his teacher, Joseph Haydn, was also of color. Jose Vasconcelos, an influential poet of African descent from the Congo, wrote verses that became a part of the Mexican folklore and were published annually until 1872. So, ancient civilizations, the Grimaldi, a Negro race, inhabited Europe as recently as 12,000 years ago, with their complete skeletons housed in the museums of Monaco. The ancient Negro civilization of Elam and Persia thrived around 2900 BC, predating Egypt and Ethiopia. Right? With notable kings like Kudur, Naunta, who conquered Chaldea and Babylon, right? right? Cepheus, a Negro, constructed the Great Pyramid in 3730 BC using around 2.5 million granite blocks and employing 100,000 men over 30 years. Ancient Egypt had at least 18 unmixed Negro rulers, including Pinka, who conquered Egypt around 750 BC. The Ganges River in India is named after an Ethiopian king who expanded his rule into Asia. The Ethiopian royal family claims the oldest lineage in the world, tracing back to, when we like to say, King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, predating European royalty by over 6,000 years. Misnomer Negroes inhabited America long before Columbus, right? With Central America monuments depicting them as deities, right? Right? When Columbus arrived, there were accounts of Negroes already in where? South America, right? Right? And so we can break down critical points, but, you know, representation of early civilization, critical interpretations, but all we'll be doing is summarizing what we already talked about. So we're going to go and summarize a little bit of chapter 3, right? Exploration. You know, the origins of the misnomer Negro race. The Negro race may not have originated in Africa, but in Asia and Oceania, with early African inhabitants being brown rather than black. There are significant populations of mixed and unmixed Negro descents in Asia and Oceania, possibly exceeding those in Africa, particularly in India. Notable discoveries of unknown Negro races include the Kakis in southern China, 1923, and a group in New Ghana in 1934. Physical fitness in military service. During World War I, Negroes in the United States Army draft were found to be physically fitter than the misnomer white counterparts, qualifying at a higher rate, 74.60% versus 69.71%. Right? Illiteracy rates. Southern and Eastern Europeans were more illiterate than American Negroes, with illiteracy among Negroes dropping significantly from 82% in 1870 to 16.3% in 1930. Comparatively, certain states show that Negroes in places like California, Minnesota, have lower illiteracy rates than misnomer white populations in southern states. You know, intelligence in military testing. In World War I, intelligence tests, Negroes from northern states outperform misnomer whites from southern states, leading by up to 7%. Right? I'm just giving some 100 amazing facts, you know? So we'll talk about chapter 4, the Jews, misnomer Jews, and the Ethiopians, right? Estevanco, right? And exploration, right? Estevanco was key in opening the southwestern United States and territories west of Florida, reaching the Pacific, right? Founders and contributions. Baptiste Point de Sable, founded Chicago, 1779. Tipo Tip, right? Explored Central Africa, laying groundwork for future explorers, and died wealthy in 1905, right? Matthew Henson, historic achievements in exploration. Matthew Henson was the first to reach the North Pole on around April 6, 1909, after many failed attempts by others. Innovations in science and invention. Jan Ernest Matzler invented the first machine to sew shoe soles to uppers. George Washington Carver made significant agriculture contributions and received the Roosevelt Medal in 1939, right? Cultural insights. Jews and Ethiopians. The Quran. Listen clearly to me now. Listen clearly. The Quran and the Septuagint suggest that Moses was of African descent. It highlights the historical influence of the 12 million Negroes brought to the New World, right? And then if y'all don't want to believe me, all you got to do is send me an email and I'll give y'all the book, One World Tartarians. I'll give it to you. I lecture this stuff and there's chapters in there that'll blow your mind. Right? It's chapters in there that'll blow your mind. Because a lot of stuff didn't happen how you think. The Quran and the Septuagint suggest that Moses was of African descent. pointing to a historical perspective of biblical figures being largely of Negro descent. Furthermore, the significant number of Jews reportedly leaving Egypt alongside Moses indicates a blending with the misnomer black Egyptians. The history of the 12 million misnomer Negroes brought to the New World emphasizes the lasting influence of their original culture and identity. That's why I be telling people, man, I don't know why people be arguing with me. You know? I don't know why people be having a argument with me. I be like, whatever. I know most people not academia. I know people that do these things. I know they ain't stepped in. I know they have no expertise behind nothing they saying. Everything they saying is filled with hate. Why? Because the truth will make you free. That's why. That's why. And every European Mason that I know, they'll sit up here and agree with me. And they'll call it, and they'll say that, yeah, they not this, not the other. They absolutely Anglo-Saxon. Absolutely Anglo-Saxon. They'll be like, yes, Revelation 2 and 9 and 3 and 9, yes. They'll rock with it. So I ain't coming from no hate. That's why I know why people be upset. Why? Because it was always the death of the misnomer black Messiah. That's why. That's why. That's why. They didn't want us to love each other. They didn't want us to have unity. They didn't want us to respect each other. They didn't want us to be like that. They wanted to make jokes. They want us to be arguing. They want to show a whole bunch of girls on social media that's middle-aged fighting in the front of the clubs. They want to see us doing all that. They want to see comedians making jokes about everything. But I ain't rocking like that. When the queen have her Moorish head on her, it's all honor. That's why I said the only people that's disrespectful is people on social media. That shows the aptitude about them, especially if they adults. And then if they Christians, I don't want to be no part of no Christian like that. I don't want to be a part of no Christians that's like that. You see? That's the messed up part about what I'm saying. Chapter 5, Politics, Jewish Heritage and Origins. The chapter explores the historical connections between the Jews and Africa, particularly Ethiopia, referencing Tacitus. They know who Tacitus is. Belief in African origin. When I talk about Godfrey Higgins and his analysis, I can use all they scholars. That's why I be like, man, I don't know why the other man get on my page with that hate, and you a lower level Mason, and you a son of a Muslim. Like that be the disrespect. But Tacitus' belief in the African origins of European Jews. It highlights the fallacious claim to original Jewish status and discuss racial discrimination among the Negro Jews in India. I'll show y'all, I'll get the book, the Igbo is the Negroes, the documents, right? I done lectured this stuff a long time. This stuff is old, what I'm talking about. That's why I be like, why do it always be either a European, with all due respect, an Albie, a Tralodike, or Anglo-Saxon, or African-American with all that Christian stuff, with all due respect, and they say, I ain't disrespected you. So why would you be on somebody's page disrespecting? You shouldn't even be here. It shows the aptitude of people. And they would never have the kahunas to say that to no one in front of their face. They won't have, no one will have the kahunas to say this in front of nobody's face. I know this for a fact. Hell. Medical interventions by misnomer black individuals. Significant contributions in medicine by misnomer black figures are highlighted, including Imhotep, regarded as the father of medicine, and other notable physicians like Ibn Ali and Dr. C. Taravis. Dr. Daniel Williams is noted for his pioneering heart surgery, and I gathered and compiled a book with all our scholars that a lot of people don't know in history. I put books together. I put compilations to show you all our figures in history, ancient and modern, so we don't forget. That's why I keep telling people, I say, man, please, I'm not going to accept no one disrespectful. I'm going to block you. But just remember, I make a post and a note of all of it. Political contributions of people of color. The section emphasizes the political involvement of people of color, particularly in France, and highlights Eugene Chin's role as Minister of Foreign Affairs in China. His collaboration with Dr. Sun Yat-sen is also noted, right? Chapter 5, the historical contributions and claims of black Jews and medical pioneers. I told y'all I go get the book, the Igbo is the Jew. With all facts, show you everything. Show you that the European scholar that went to Igbo land right there with the attire on, a lot of stuff that was given to me right there with the talent and all the stuff on. So I don't be knowing why people get on social media with all the hatred, especially our own people, especially disrespectful, with all due respect, those certain type of Jews that I got your encyclopedia is going to tell you exactly what you are. Why you disrespect me and your encyclopedia is going to agree with what I'm saying. Everything that you say anti-Semitic, I'm going to show where that come from. Like, you, and I don't have to deal with no conspiracy theory stuff, poo diddly. We'll show it all, be like, man, you can go on with that. The chapter discusses the historical ties between Jews and Africa, specifically Ethiopia, citing Tacitus, a Roman historian, who believed that Jews in Europe had origin from Africa. The skin color and hair texture of modern European and American Jews may reflect these African roots. Biblical references also link Ethiopians with the children of Israel. The Falashes, or Ethiopian Jews, claim to be the original Jews and ruled Ethiopia for 40 years under Queen Judith. The discrimination faced by misnomer Negro Jews in India highlights ongoing racial divides within the Jewish communities. Also, I can give you another Russian scholar named Vladimir Dale, his definition of an Arab. An Arab is spelled A-R-A-P, not A-R-A-B. And every scholar know exactly what I'm talking about. That's why I don't come from disrespect. I come with scholarship. You know, I come with scholarship. I've done this in academia at a Christian university. I come with a turban on, carrying to school with a turban on every day, or fez on every day. Never got no disrespect. Lecture in front of Muslims and Christians and Protestants and Shriners and everything. Got introduced to the Philosophical Research Society. I ain't coming from no hate. If I did, I would have got kicked out. I wouldn't have graduated with honors. I wouldn't be able to do an oral dissertation to prove that the misnomer black man is the father of civilization, proved by the Bible alone, without no hate, without no biasness. I did my oral dissertation like that. You can hear a pin drop from scholarship. And I graduated from Grand Canyon University with a dual master's degree in Christian history and linguistics, with a minor in with a minor in first century history and religion. I'd be like, man, come on, man. And Christian counseling. Like, why? And because everything is there. I had to go prove who I was. And the only people that can prove who they are is in history and spirituality, because they fit like a glove. These is facts. So let's go to the next chapter. Chapter 6, we talk about religion. For scholarship purposes only, race mixing. We speaking for scholarship purposes only. Historical examples of race mixing. When I talk about grafting, people are like, what you mean? I said, hey man, you can't get mad at me. History is just what it is. Persina, an Ethiopian queen, had a light-colored child, attributing to it a white status or a white statue presented during conception. Maria Teresa of Spain and Austria bore a mulatto daughter due to the alleged influences at court. Anna, a servant in Italy, became the concubine of Pope Clement, right? The seventh, right? And her son became Duke of Florence, right? Remember, I'm telling you, the son always do the bidding of the mother. I hope y'all listening to me. When I talk about the brothers that took an oath under the Prince Hall Masonry, I don't care if they PHO or PHA, I say the same thing about our ladies that the so-called the Eastern Stars. They under the Daughters of American Revolution. And that's where the third-party contract come in, litigation and the marriage license. These facts, they can be mad at me, but it means nothing to me. It means nothing to me. Slavery and race relations. Misnomer white slaveholders encouraged misnomer white women to marry Negro slaves to extend slavery. Notable figures like Thomas Jefferson and Patrick Henry had mulatto children, highlighting race relations among early American leaders. Why y'all think Hoover had a problem with everything? Huh? Why y'all think J. Edgar Hoover had a problem with everything? Remember Napoleon? He proposed something? He proposed a legal framework for what? Multiracial marriages in Haiti to address racial issues. We know this ain't nothing new. In 1782, 62 misnomer white women were married to free Negroes, right? Bound for Sierra Leone to do what? Populate the colony. Come on, man, y'all know this, right? Influential figures in the slave trade. Miss Liban, known as Queen of the Slave Trades, had mulatto children who connected to powerful misnomer white figures. Y'all know this, right? The Countess de Bunharnis married a Haitian negro, illustrating the complexities of race relations in historical context. I ain't coming with how nobody feel. I'm talking about historical context. No matter how you feel, I tell us, remove the feelings. In chapter 7, we could talk about rulers, right? Historical perspective on misnomer black figures in religion and culture, right? Depictions of deity and morality. In early times, Ethiopians portrayed their gods and heroes as misnomer black and associated evil with misnomer white figures, right? A Catholic missionary noted that misnomer the black figures were depicted as saints. When I talk about the Russian icons by Vladimir Ivanov, not the Russian icons, not Russian blacks, Russian icons. They say this book is supposed to be in all scholarship houses. When I talk about Saint Mark and all this stuff, when I show you the Corsica flag, all this stuff connects back to history and biblical history. When I talk about in Egypt, when you see the Moors from the Tetrarchs and all of them, they all broke the nose off. Come on. Origins of cultural concepts. Many ancient deities from various cultures, including India, Chinese, Japanese, and Mexican, were noted to have African or more specifically Nubian origins based on their physical characteristics. The Bible description of God aligns with these representations, and early Christian figures in Europe were also depicted as black. All scholars know this. And then I take you to what the Catholic Church know about the Mommy Waters and the Sibyls. They can get on here and play all these games you want to. They know all about the god Artemis. They know about all that stuff. They know the foundational aspects of the Bible and moral literature originated in ancient Egypt, a notably black civilization. The influence of Egyptian culture on a misnomer Hebrew literature is emphasized, asserting that the moral heritage of modern societies has roots in ancient Egyptian civilization, right? Contributions of Ethiopian culture. Ethiopians are credited with providing the concept of right and wrong, establishing the groundwork for religion and civilization. Historical texts and dramas from this culture highlight their early contributions to moral philosophy. Right? Right? African popes and saints. In this chapter, it notes the existence of 3 African popes throughout history, including notable figures who played critical roles in the establishment of Christianity. Additionally, remember I told y'all Saint Maurice, a black saint? Research what I'm telling you. Is celebrated in Germany, in their culture, for his refusal to betray Christian principles. And then I ask everybody that get on here with that Christian hate, what is the real Christian principles? To love your neighbor, all that stuff, not all the rest of this stuff. And you see Christians on here, some of the worst people on social media. Hannibal, a full-blooded Negro, is recognized for his strategic military achievements, particularly his daring crossing of the Alps with a significantly reduced force and victories against the Roman Empire over a span of years. Right? We'll deal with chapter 8. Let me see. We got a little bit more time and we out of here. Key historical figures and events when I talk about military strategy and leadership. Hannibal is recognized as the father of military strategy, influencing military education globally. Yusuf, a king from Upper Senegal, saved Moorish civilization in Spain in 1086 by defeating King Alfonso, right? Remember? With a significant smaller force at the Battle of Zalaka. Notable African emperors. Askia, the Great of Songhai, ruled a vast empire from Timbuktu in the 16th century. Muli Ismail, emperor of Morocco, captured thousands of misnomer white slaves to construct his palace and build a vast stable for horses, right? John of Portugal, a dark mulatto, shifted the seat of power to Brazil in 1808, making him a key figure in Brazil's formation. His son, Pedro I, became Brazil's first emperor in 1822. Hell, remember the second president of Egypt, what was his name, Nasser? Didn't he say the reason why Israel is cursed? Because God's people left black and came back white? Fact check me. That's why when people be getting on here upset, they know history. And if they Masons, they disrespecting their oath, especially if they European Masons. You disrespecting your oath because you know history just like I do. Linking the Brazilian royal family to European royalty. Influential military leaders. John Baptiste, right? A colored man from Napoleon's army, established the royal family of Sweden, right? Right? 1880. Right? Sitaweo of Zululand achieved a significant victory against British forces in 1879, teaching innovative military tactics, right? Historical context of slavery. The term slave originally referred to Slavic people and was applied to misnomer white Europeans who were the first slaves in the United States. Man, you can look at white cargo. They were white and they were slaves. It's so much history. We talk about the transatlantic slave trade, but we don't ever talk about the Muslim slave trade, or we don't even talk about the one world Tartarians, to show you that that boat stuff is not even history. No matter how you want to feel about it. No matter how you want to feel about it, no matter how much foam come out your mouth like the Cujo, you still will be wrong. There were notable slave revolts, with Nat Turner's uprising in 1831 being one significant. The Seminoles fought for their freedom. Legislation and misnomer, we always like to call things misnomer, white slavery. Laws were enacted in Virginia in 1670, you know? Yeah. Laws were, and you say, well, your reparations? I told you, brother, we getting played by our own people, these lawyers. And I hate to say, like, Ben Crump know I'm telling the truth. We can't agree. We keep talking about some reparations and some Black Lives Matters. According to science and law, black means death. Black is an adjective. We got to give all that away. Our reparations is us pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps, wanting the same freedoms as everybody else. That's our reparations. I'm trying to tell y'all, man, that's attached to so much more. I'm telling you, but people be looking at dollars, and I say most people will spend that money in 2.1 seconds. I'm telling you, it's a machine that we after. So let's proceed. Laws were enacted in Virginia in 1670 and 1748, prohibiting Negroes from buying white people, highlighting the complex history of slavery. Thousands of misnomer white children were kidnapped in the 17th and 18th century and sold into slavery in America and the West Indies. Prominent cases and historical figures. Prince Abi el Rahman, a grandson of Timbuktu emperor, was sold into American slavery, but later gained freedom. By 1860, some free Negroes in the United States also owned slaves, demonstrating the complexity of this institution. Y'all got to understand this, right? Emancipation, right? Emancipation, right? And continuing slavery. The Brazilian Emancipation Proclamation of 1888. When we talk about the, it's so many things, man. The doctrine of discovery. We talk about the dumb diverses. It's so much. The Spanish Acquisition. But the Brazilian Emancipation Proclamation of 1888 immediately freed all slaves, contrasting with earlier British and American emancipation efforts. Slavery persists in parts of Arabia and North Africa, where both misnomer white and misnomer Negro individuals are held as slaves today. I'm telling y'all. Right? See, what time is it? Okay, we got a little bit more time. So warfare and commanders. Marshal Major W. Taylor was the fastest bicyclist. Research this stuff, setting a record in a 1 mile race in 1 minute. 19 seconds. He passed away in 1932 at 54. Misnomer African Americans. You want to say Moors? Okay. Though small in population, have achieved a significant number of world athletic championships, including 13 world boxing championships in various weight categories. See, when they, listen, let me tell y'all something. When we talk about the Jamaican Maroons, and when they try to take people from their warm colonies and take them cold places like Nova Scotia, man, we just create we just create damn ice hockey. They have also secured 10 Olympic titles in events spanning from 1924 to 1936. In a notable achievement, out of 12 intercollegiate championships on June 1st, 1940, African Americans won, right? They won. Remember key historical figures. Let's proceed. Juan Francios, former slave and Haitian leader, became notable in Spain. Napoleon's general included 12 West Indian Negro generals like General Alexander Dumas. Muhammad Ahmad Mahdi defeated British forces in Sudan, created an empire. Fagan, American Negro deserter, led Filipino resistance against U.S. forces. General A. Dodds, Senegalese general, commanded Allied forces in China. Captain S.H. Mortineau led air defenses of Paris during World War I. Fulgencio Batista led the Cuban Revolt in 1933 and later became president, right? Contributions in warfare. Negro community was significant in major U.S. wars, notably the Civil War and World War I. In World War I, 4 Negro regiments received the Cruz de Guerra. 41 individuals earned the Congressional Medal of Honor. President Abraham Lincoln recognized the essential role of Negro troops in Northern victory. And let me tell you another thing. Before Abraham Lincoln was a damn president, he defended the Moore in court. Research the Spencer and Dungy case. This is why I be telling y'all, I don't get disrespected in real life. We lost. None of our people know about the historical things that we did. Why? Because we still call ourselves Negro, Black, and Color, and African Americans. We still talk about stuff that's not real. We talk about some Willie Lynch. Ain't no such thing as no Willie Lynch later. We still talk about some roots. Well, Alex Haley plagiarized roots from a European named Harold Colander. Some lower-level Freemasons, all made up. All made up. And anybody come and say it's historical, it's no truth in them. You know? John Francios, a former slave and leader of the Haitian blacks, in 1791 rose to nobility in Spain. And he was able to address the king as cousin, right? Napoleon generals, remember I gave y'all that? Included 12 West Indian Negro generals, such as General Alexander Dumas. Research everything I'm saying, who once commanded Napoleon. Muhammad Ahmed the Mahdi defeated British forces in Sudan, establishing a vast empire before his death in 1885, famously besting General Gordon, right? Right? Fagan, an American Negro deserter who led Filipino resistance against U.S. forces in 1899, inspiring a widely praised short story. General Dodds, Captain H. Mortineau. I done gave y'all all these. I'm gonna do 2 more and I'm out of here. Because it's too many chapters. Let's see. Well, we can talk, it was so-called misnomer Negro soldiers in Civil War. Remember I told y'all about the Battle of Bunker Hill. It's a book called America in Black and White. The name of the author will come to me. Writing the book, it show you how they whitewashed Peter Salmon and Oliver Cromwell out of the battle of Bunker Hill. And that book that they give your kid, 1776, with the Battle of Bunker Hill and all that, is a whitewashed depiction of history. I'm telling you, and can't nobody tell me no different. Just like Henry Hoosier. That's named after a misnomer negro, a preacher. I'm telling you. That's why I said when they say, well, you think everything black? Yeah. If we gonna tell the true history, if we gonna come and deal with some science, yep. Why? Because I already been battle tested. I already been through the lion's den. I can take anything somebody say about me on social media, anything. But I bet you most, if they European, if they Masons, which they Scottish Rite Masons, man, I got your charter, and you will apologize, because you on here playing. It was always death for the Black Messiah. Always, always, always. I don't care how nobody feel. You know? You know? I told y'all, we not, like I said, we ain't addressing nothing or nobody come on social media with trash. Because that's only people that talk trash is trash. And we throw that out as trash. We throwing all that out with trash. I don't care what color you are. We throwing it out as trash. We playing that caricature game with me? Please. I know what's going on in the world. I've been there. I see what's going on. They want us to not love each other. I'm not playing it. They all took an oath. They all sons of Muslims. I don't care if they KKK, they under the Quran. Point blank. Like we don't know. Between 1861 and 1865, 975 Negro soldiers served in the Union Army, including 161 regiments, composed of 141 infantry, 7 cavalry, 12 heavy artillery, and 1 light artillery. Like, come on, man. We even had heroes. One significant figure was Preston Roberts, who served as an unofficial quartermaster for General Nathan Forrest. Research this. He received the Cross of Honor, a prestigious Confederate medal, right? In Buenos Aires, Antonio Ruiz, known as El Negro Felicio, is celebrated as a national hero for his bravery during a rebellion in 1810, right? The first in World War I, the first Americans recognized with decorations from France, right? Right? From France. In World War I were 2 Negro soldiers, Henry Johnson. And you see, all these people can say Jesus is king, Jake Coffey, all these trolls. That's why I told y'all, man, the world is messed up. And that's all people can say, Jesus is king. Great. Okay, now what? You see, it's nothing else to say about that. You know? There's nothing else to say about that. That's why I be telling people, I be like, man, I be gone. Our people is destroyed. And other people is destroyed. Because we just talk. I don't deal with figures. I deal with the science. I ain't dealing with no figure. You know? Origins of terminology. The terms used to describe misnomer black individuals trace back to ancient linguistics, right? With names like Nisua, you right? Ethiopian, and more, originating from Africa. The word Negro likely derived from the river Niger. We know this in biblical scripture. They call such and such Niger. It's in scripture. It's amongst the oldest descriptors predating European terms, such as black and colored. That's like when I tell people, when they watch Hidden Colors and they say Africa was named after a European. No, it's not. We already lectured that. We illuminated that 15 million times. The term admiral comes from a title given to Negroid sea rovers who once sought slaves along European coasts, reflecting their historical influence. Even royal connections, Kaiser William II had a Negro adoptive relative named Henry Noel, Henrinoel, who was raised in the royal palace and later served in the German army. Right? Even when we go back to Africa, prominent figures in the Back to Africa movement included Paul Kufi, Major Martin R. Delaney, right? And others advocating for African reparations. They just didn't know enough. That's all. Why in our Moore's Quran, Marcus Garvey is compared to John the Baptist, the forerunner, to give you an idea of a flag and to give you an idea of certain things. Marcus Garvey had a significant following, surpassing others like Dr. Thorne and Sam and Tony Simpson, posed as Prince Antonio Apache in 1903, gained attention from elites, including President Theodore Roosevelt, right? Influential events. Remember Booker T. Washington declined a lecture fee to continue work at Tuskegee after his 1895 Atlanta exposition speech. Remember that historical event? Harper's Ferry, first casualty during John Brown's raid, was free black man Haywood Shepherd. Attempts to alter hair by African Americans have historical roots over 5,000 years in ancient Egypt, right? Demographics and morality, right? African Americans, misnomer, have a higher chance of reaching age 100 compared to misnomer whites. Higher percentage of African American women affects social dynamics and morality perceptions compared to misnomer whites. This is just science. Historical context, origins of racial cross-marriage laws in Colorado, difference based on settlements by Mexico versus claimed U.S. lands. Phoebe Francis saved George Washington from poisoning during the Revolutionary War. Abraham Lincoln's response to General Hunter's Emancipation Proclamation reflects complexities of slavery in the Civil War. The conclusion of that, the figures and events emphasize the important contributions and struggles of misnomer African Americans in history, countering decline myths and highlighting their role in nation building, right? Let's see, we got a couple more. Okay, let's do this last one. Let's see, let's look at all the arts. Literacy statistics. Well, okay, now we'll go to some more. Wait, let me go to my favorite one. Let me see. Okay, we'll go to ancient civilizations. Beethoven's ancestry. Paul Beeker described Beethoven as an unattractive man with distinct features, and Thayer suggests he would be surprised by how you say Beethoven as an unattractive man with distinctive features, and Thayer suggests he would be surprised by how he has been idolized in art. Beethoven's family roots trace back to Belgium, a region once occupied by Spaniards, who included a number of misnomer Negro soldiers. Descriptions of Beethoven align with traits of many African American or West Indian individuals, hinting at a possible Negro ancestral strain. Remember, there was Negro influence in ancient Persia. Originally, Persia was ruled by a Negro dynasty known as the Edomites. Excavations by Dulafoy revealed that this dynasty thrived around 2300 BC, suggesting a significant presence of Negro peoples in ancient Mesopotamia. The influence of these groups extended to the formation of the Persian race and included powerful rulers such as Cyrus and Darius, who may have been of mixed heritage. The surrounding dynamics of racial mixing are highlighted, countering the notion of a pure Aryan identity exposed in later ideologies, right? 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 No disrespect. Negro presence in ancient Egypt. Historical scholars like Herodotus, y'all know Herodotus, and Aristotle, right? Noted that the Negroid characteristics of the Egyptians' artifacts evidence supports claims of significant Negro ancestry within Egyptian royalty. All you got to do is read Stolen Legacy by, who's Stolen Legacy by? George G.M. James. You can even get George G.M. James' Natural Genesis. Get Godfrey Higgins. I mean, it's so much. Get David McRitchie, Ancient and Modern Britons, both volumes. Get Lewis and Clark documents. You'll see. Reports indicate that Ruud included Ethiopian lineage, further illustrating the presence and influence of Negro people throughout Egyptian history. Ethiopian kings and culture legacy. The chapter also references the Ethiopian kings, tracing their lineage back to ancient times and their conquests, illustrating the existence, the historical influence of misnomer Negro leadership across the various regions. So when we talk about the pre-Columbian presence in America, in this chapter, it explores the evidence suggesting that misnomer Negro people existed in the Americas before Columbus, right? Right? Citing ancient Mexican sculptures and skeletal findings indicative of early Negro ancestry within Native American tribes, right? Right? Columbus himself noted the historical presence of the Negro peoples in the Americas narrative, further emphasizing their role in pre-Columbian history, right? And in this chapter, it wraps historical narratives and anthropological evidence to challenge prevailing notions of racial purity, right? 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 And highlight the complexity ancestry of significant figures and civilizations, right? Right? It's just like blacksmith. It's just like blacksmith when we break it down in Malachi 3:3. The Bible is analogy, parable, and symbology. Think about it now. So I'll give this last one, and then I'll answer some questions. I see a couple people said some things, and we'll get out of here because we've been going on like an hour and 30 minutes. My homie said, if y'all like the teaching, hit Sheik up in his bio. I'll give y'all wisdom. I'll give you books. Leave me your email. I don't care. Leave something. I guarantee you, best donation you ever give in your life. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. Watch this. But we'll end with this. Illiteracy and intelligence. Presence of misnomer Negroes in America before Columbus. Peter Martyr, right? Peter Martyr, Columbus's, how can we say? He reported things. Put it like this. That Negroes lived in Central America, right? Right? In Central America prior to the onset of slavery. Evidence from scholars like proof like Leo Weiner indicates that Negro traders were present with their masters before Columbus' arrival. I said I'll answer that after I'm done, Noble. Cultural influence and historical evidence. A Negro colony existed in Mexico, which had significant cultural impacts. Sculptures and artifacts in Central America exhibit Negro features, suggesting a long-standing presence before the transatlantic slave trade. Colonial A. Bragheim claims to have found a 20,000-year-old statue, you know? All labels from antiquity are misnomers. Hey, I don't know what nobody's saying, whatever. You know, challenge previous belief that Negroes arrived in the New World only through slavery, right? So I'll stop right there. I'll stop right there. You see what you said, Noble? I don't know what he said. All labels from antiquity are misnomers. Okay, fine. Where did I get this piece on my head? These Moorish heads? Oh, we have them. Like we have them. I collect them, and I collect a lot. If people have been following me for years, they know I collect them. All my muftis have them, and I search other people that sell them, and I just buy them all. You know, so I get them from different people that sell them on different platforms, but I'm a collector. And so every time I see people selling certain things, I like to buy them, I like to have them. I have a whole storage unit with a plethora of Moorish heads, a whole bunch of things. You know, my mother been a collector and an artist and traveled all over the world. So, yeah, I have a lot of them. And a lot of my brothers that rock with me, and I gift them to people, you know, that rock with me. I don't like on my webpage, I have a page called moorishhaberdasher.com, moorishhaberdasher.com. I don't have them on that website, but I do have them. And all you have to do is send me an email and we can discuss it. But I don't talk about prices and things because I really don't like to sell things too much if it's not on my website. But I ask for a donation, and for your donation, I'll give you one for a donation. I just have to, like I said, I'm getting ready to go back to where I reside most of the time in Arizona. I'm just in Michigan at my parents' house visiting. But I think I got some more. And I have to check with one of my muftis because he got a collection of them too. But just send me an email, My email is in my bio. Send me an email, and I'll let you know, and what the shipping to be, and I'll ship it to you if you're interested. But it's a Moorish head. And what somebody said, he said all labels from antiquity are misnomers. That's what somebody said. All labels from antiquity are misnomers. Can you break that down? Can you break that down? I mean, that statement, it sounds good, but can you break that down? If you don't mind. I'll wait. Because I know what you mean. I want you to explain it. Because I know exactly where you're going. But I'll let you explain. Let's see, do you have a clear understanding of these things, and see, do it fit in there, or do it fit in context of what we're talking about? When you say all labels from antiquity are misnomers, okay? So pertaining to what? When we make that statement, then the next question is, a person can say, okay, well, if you say all labels from antiquity are misnomers, right? A brother or sister is free to think pertaining to what? Because that we can I can rock with that. We talk about retrospective, you know. Yeah, that's our Temple and School email, but my personal email is on there too in my bio. I think it's Goodman, GOODMANKHARY @gmail.com. That's our Temple and School email. But my personal email is my last name, GOODMAN, first name, KHARY @gmail.com. So it's free to think. I like the statement, all labels from antiquity are misnomers, but can you elaborate on that, if you don't mind? I just want to see, I just want to see if a person, like how in a spelling bee, if I told a person spell niggas, and that person would go off the mouth and say Nigga, and I'll be like, wrong. And you should be like, well, put it in a sentence. Give me the origin, so you can understand the context and actually understand. So when we say all labels from antiquity are misnomers, could you give me a description per se? Could you give me a description, or can you give me an example of all labels from antiquity are misnomers? Because that's why I said we here for school. That's why I love this. So I'll be wanting to see where a person come and seeing if they coming from wisdom and not just a quick Google search. So when you try to put a label or a color or a group of people, it's coming from Victor's perspective. From Victor's perspective. Once again, listen, so when you try to put a label or color or group of people, so when you try to put a label, watch this. So when you try to put a label or color or group of people, it's coming from the victor's perspective. The victors, okay, so you're saying that when a person call you a misnomer, it's coming from the ones that put you in subjugation. So you're saying the only person that's going to get reparations for a misnomer Negro is the ones that created the Negro? That what you're saying? Because I hope you said, so when you try to put label on color group of people, it's coming from the victors. So any labels that from a person is from the people that conquered them. Just like when I gave a lecture that Africa wasn't named after a European. If a person, so what are we saying? I wait. I wait. Oh, right. He said right. Okay. 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 So we clear. So we clear. So we clear. You see, that's why I like conversation with people that can sit down and have conversation because I know what he's saying. I want to make sure other people know so that everybody will be like, well, no, he did this. Like, no, no, no. Let's break it down. Let's break it down and do it the right way, you know, respect and still love. So, brother, Islam, to what you're saying. So when you try to put a label on a color or a group of people, it's coming from the victor's perspective, always. So always. And then we don't even have to say it the victor's perspective. We can say religious people, with all due respect, will say, we all this. And when they say, well, they try to say, we all Hebrew Israelites. Well, what about the Levites, the ones that was the royal priesthood? The ones that was going to teach a message. Like, it's so many different families in biblical scriptures. So it don't even, and in this context, it don't even have to be the one that the conquerors. It can be biased people. It can be religious people that's religiously blind that don't know history. We all this, or we all coming from some Koine Greek perspective, using color to say that it's contingent on righteousness. Using we the Hebrews like and they the devil and I say, dude, these two were brothers. Like, are you lost your marbles? Clearly, you ain't read the text. They try to use. Let me tell y'all how these people. I told you the pendulum swing both ways with me. Let me tell you how these people that's prejudiced that try to use color contingent on righteousness when they try to say Laban is the WHITE man. And let's do a fast, quick Trump, because I told y'all most of these religious people are high school dropouts and they dealing with women on Section 8. They try to say Laban is the white man. I say, well, Laban mean white literally, just like black mean black literally. It's an adjective in this context. It's like the black this, the black this. But let's play devil advocate, right? Let's just say Laban mean white man or white ethnicity, right? For educational purposes only. Didn't Jacob marry Laban's 2 daughters? Yes or no? Research it. Where did Jacob marry Laban's 2 daughters? Yes or no? Research it and see what you get. Did Jacob read Laban's 2 daughters? You know? That's all I ask people. You know? That's all I ask people. You know? That's all I ask people. You know? Here's somebody, Sanchez said, quit trying to be Arab. Man, I told you to follow Yahshua wore a turban. Then the person followed me. That's why I said, like, we some messed up people. I told y'all I'm gonna start talking. We are some messed up people. You know? The brother Sanchez 26_Cyril says, quit trying to be Arab, but the ancient Arab is melanated. That's why I told y'all, man, we some messed up people. Then this person, Chess, say, what does it matter, black, white, whatever? I ain't say nothing matter. I'm in history. But that's why I tell people, if this is not for you, no one should be here. That's why I tell people. You shouldn't be here. People be upset with history because if it didn't matter, it do matter. If it do matter, why you didn't tell the truth? Why you didn't tell the truth from the beginning? People be butthurt because it's the jig up. The jig is up. That's why people upset. You know? That's why people are upset. You know? Because we've been lied to. So I ain't worried about trolls. I keep telling people, I ain't worried about no troll. But in another context, when we say all labels from antiquity are misnomers, you know, most of labels we use for antiquity, you know? Like artifacts and all this, we're using the wrong names. You know? Ain't no disrespect to no one. That's why I said, man, I'm not upset with no one. And no one can get under my skin on social media. No one. But I bet you everything I talk about can be fact checked. I bet you we can get a so-called referee, a judge, and they can be like, why y'all upset with what this man's saying? And this stuff is history. It can be found in all libraries. Like, where are you getting this information from? History books. You know? You know what I mean? History books. That's where this man getting his information from. And why everybody upset? When the first thing they say, well, none of this matter. White, black, none of it. Yes, it do. Because if it didn't matter, the creator would have created everyone in the same manifestation. It's showing that the creator's what? Ability to create. And people be upset with history. And that's what I told y'all. It was always misnomer, death of the misnomer black messiah for educational purposes only. Why are people upset with the truth and historical facts? Why? Because if I go to Europe and if I go to Oxford and Cambridge and Harvard, this stuff is spoke about. Like, why everybody upset when they say it don't matter? If I'm giving a lecture on a specific topic and I was just coming from one of the books, J.A. Rogers, 100 Amazing Facts About the Negro, I don't even have to come from none of our scholars' books. I can come from all European books. Matter of fact, tomorrow I'm going to come from Godfrey Higgins, and then I'm going to break down the one world Tartarians. And people are really going to be butthurt. All of them, they're going to really be butthurt when the one world Tartarians from European scholars, when I start breaking down all the books from Gerald Massey and all the European scholars, when they like, no, this man telling the truth. When I break down the Anglo-Saxon dictionary, I don't know why people butthurt. You know? And this is what I tell us as a people. Like, why are we upset? I went to academia I didn't get on social media and argue with no one. I said, I'm going to go to academia and learn and be able to not only know history and know business. And I chose that endeavor to make sure I can trace myself in history and spirituality. And I did that on all levels. You know? So when a person say it don't make a difference, it shouldn't make no difference. If it don't make no difference to you, you shouldn't be on my page. It don't show that I'm crazy. It show that you wasting your time on someone page that really you don't even know. But you type in a whole bunch of letters and dissertations and a whole bunch of stuff like I'm finna get into discourse with you. And I'm not. I'm gonna block you. And I'm gonna say, look at the aptitude of these grown people. Look at the aptitude of these religious people. Look at the aptitude of these people. You know? Look at the aptitude. It's sad. This is supposed to be America, the land of the free, the home of the brave. We should have religious rights. We got the right for our culture. The religious rights of the indigenous people says this. We have the right to have our culture, our medicine man, wear our own clothing. We have the right to promulgate our history. That's the religious rights of the indigenous people. That's our right here in America. So why, if anybody that's not down with what I'm saying, why would you be here and be a troll? Why would you be here? You should be at your church. You should be at wherever you're doing. You should have your own YouTube channel, bringing those people that when you say to combat everything, Jesus is King, Jesus is Lord. You should just speak that all day. You should wear shirts with that on every day. There's no reason for no one to be on nobody else's page and they're spitting that out all the time. It should be no reason for no adult getting on somebody's platform and doing that because you won't go to nobody's church doing that. Nobody will come to nobody in real life and do that disrespectful stuff. Nobody would come in real life and do that. Why? Because you think you incognito on social media. That's why I said the world is became disrespectful and social media have done that. You know? It's done two beautiful things. It brought a lot of my brothers together because I didn't know none of my brothers. We didn't grow up together. And I met them from all different parts of the world. As I continue to travel, meeting regular people, all different nationalities, it allowed me to do that. My academia, it allowed me to do these different things. And so I don't get disrespected in real life. It's just like when a person was on my page, we're talking about, oh, you trying to be an Arab. Dude, you have no idea. The followers of Yahshua wore a turban with a jewel on it. That had to do with the high priest. That's why I said our brother's aptitude is so small. And the turban, all this stuff is indigenous to a certain area. People just adopted it. See, these is facts. But see, they think we don't have no culture. And I'm not going to stand for it. The follower of Yahshua wore a turban with the jewel on it. So Arab or whatever trying to be like the followers of Yahshua. Because the high priest wore a turban with the jewel on it. We wore tunics, cotton or silk. So if anything, somebody's saying, I don't know what they talking about, that ain't got nothing to do with no misnomer Arab. And the ancient Arab, A-R-A-P, is melanated like me and you. See, these is facts. They don't want to understand that because there's no history in them. Man, you can get a book called The Arab by Bertrand. The Arab is by Bertrand Thomas, a European that stayed with the ancient Arabs. And you tell me what you get out of Bertrand Thomas' book called The Arab. That's why I be laughing at these people. I'm Mexican, all these misnomer names. I say, man, you need to go have several seats. Go do some scholarship. The European man is going to agree with me. Who? Bertrand Thomas. He wrote a book called The Arab. Look it up. I got all these books. That's why I'd be laughing. I'd be like, man, you have no idea. You talking out the side of your neck. You talking straight out the side of your neck. I can't be something that I already am. The copy already copied me. I can't be something that I already am. You don't know that? You ain't been listening to nothing I said or fact checking me or doing the research. What you talking about? Bertrand Thomas, ancient Russian scholar, it'll tell you what the Arab is. And then if I jump in the Napatan library, man, a lot of these people really going to be butthurt. I'm telling you facts, because I tell people I'm not Orthodox. So when you come with the Orthodox stuff, I'm not under no tradition. So when people come with all that stuff and all that, I say, man, go have several seats. I get a real professor that'll tell you that all that stuff is nothing. That wear the shemag with the halil, everything on it, that kaifa like I wear, and he's a professor, and he's Muslim, and he gonna speak the truth. I can give you all this, man, he got millions of views on social media, be debunking all that Islam stuff. He'd be like, no, brother, he's like, well, you, the ancient Arab, but you know that she. I know. That's why I don't promulgate no disrespect. I don't give no disrespect. A person can believe whatever they want, but they're not gonna disrespect me. And then I say, well, I'm a scholar, I'm a historian. I say, okay, well, then have you ever read the Bertrand Thomas, the Arab? And then when I start dealing with the Catholic and the Jewish stuff, and I'll be showing y'all how this stuff synchronized, people be upset. I'll be like, man, go on with that stuff. Because there's nothing historical about none of that stuff. And everybody know these is facts. You got people that stayed with the ancient Arab. Research Bertrand Thomas, his book called The Arab. I'm telling you, man. I don't know what people be talking about. The transatlantic slave trade, research the Arab slave trade that's going on right now. Look up in the Bukhari Hadith of what they call misnomer black people raising heads. That ain't no word of endearment. Look in the Bukhari Hadith. They call you raising heads. You know? Let me block this person, man. You keep, yeah, this person, what was the name? The person Sanchez 26 Surianos. Color, caca, all this stupid stuff. That's why I be telling us, man. I said, it's a whole bunch of older people that's on social media that's just proving hatred. I'm giving scholarship. I give everybody the scholarship. How can it be hatred and it's scholarship? And you can research everything I'm saying. Well, do you gonna debunk the scholarship too? That's what the religious people do. Oh, well, they talk about all the historians and they scholars and they all this, but then when you give them the facts, they still debunk the history. Like, man, go on sit down, man, somewhere. Like nobody can talk about this is stuff that be on my page. I said, man, that ain't no scholarship. That's hate. That's what that is. That's hate. That's a misnomer Mexican on my page hating. With all due respect. That hate itself. That's a misnomer Mexican on my page hating. With all due respect, I love everybody. But that's what we get with these people that I told y'all, it was always death of what? The Black Messiah. Always. It was always death of the Black Messiah. Because when they seen this copper colored skin, the first thing they do is get afraid. I'm telling you, that's what I know. That's why I said, I'm not worried about what nobody say to me on social media. I know it ain't no truth in what you're saying. And I know if I sit and talk down to your great grandma and them, they're going to be like, why are you disrespecting this man? I guarantee you that. I guarantee you. Especially these misnomer Mexicans, these misnomer, I said, dude, please, you have no idea who you are. You coming at me disrespectful. Your grandma won't disrespect me. I start showing you history, it's gonna get darker and darker. Like this is a joke, man. And that's what I be telling people. It's like, oh, so we act like the turban, the shemag belong to the misnomer Arab. Like, with all due respect, like where we got this from? All this stuff is native to the continent of Africa. The Tarbouche, the Benin, all of it. Like, what is people talking about? The followers of Yahshua wore turbans, wore tunics, cotton or silk. What is people really talking about, y'all? That's why I said I'm not playing it. You know, I'm on here speaking, having this on my my channel. My speaking to people daily. But this is what you get with hateful people when you see people that understand who they are and they operate under identity. That's the first thing they do when they see brothers and sisters operating like that. They get upset. Well, I ain't one of them clowns. I ain't one of them sovereign citizens. I ain't one of them drop out of the high school. I ain't one of them. That's why I keep telling people, you come on my page with the disrespect, I'm going to call you out your name. I'm going to look you up with my IT guy, and I'm going to do you the same way you do me. I'm going to troll you. From here on out, I'm going to troll you just like you trolling me. Because the only reason why you say that, because of my skin. Oh, if I was pale, like a misnomer, a Middle Easterner with a turban, you would be happy with that. Oh, then you'd be with the radical Christian stuff. Then it'd be something else you got to say. And this is what I be saying, man. Like, I'm not rolling with it. I'm standing strong on who I am. And that's what I be telling us. Until we start defending our own people and standing up for what's right, we always going to get disrespected. Because I told y'all, I'm not Negro, I'm not black, none of that. I'm not operating with none of that. I operate with my culture. And we the only group of people that don't have culture. And everybody done picked up our culture. The European Jew wear his yarmulke with his talent. The misnomer Indian wear his turban. The misnomer, the Al-Islam Muslim wear his kufi per se, if he's under that type of Islam. But what the misnomer black man got? What on fake black history? You got a dashiki on, or some Kwanzaa that was created by, or you got some fake Kwanzaa that was created by a COINTELPRO, Ron Kringa. Man, come on, man. And I was able to like this on a college campus with dignitaries, with professors, was like, brother, you're going to have to get your own charter. Why? Because a lot of your brothers, they told me, have took the oath, and they under the faith-based initiative, you know, the FBI, because they teaching government-mandated science. A lot of these preachers are Freemasons and preachers that go against everything. That's why I said I got my own charter. I got my own fraternal order. We a brotherhood, you know? What'd he say? Oh, I got you, brother. So that's all I've been trying to tell people, man. It's like, man, I'm not letting nobody disrespect me. I don't care what this is. You my social media plan. The only reason why you mad because I told you I'm not a Negro, black, and colored, and African American. The only reason why you mad because you see me with a turban on and you see my jewel on it. That's the only reason why you mad. That's the only reason why you mad. You know, and so then you get all the childish games. Oh, you that is, man, that's old. I'm getting ready to be 50. You got to come with something better, and that's what I be telling these people. I said, man, you got to come with something way better than that, because I've been through the whole lion's den. You got to come with something way better than that if you think you're gonna ruffle my feathers. You know, and that's what I tell people in real life. We got to start protecting our own. You know. That's why I tell everyone, I'm trying to get all y'all private. You know, hit me up, send me emails. I'm trying to get all y'all private. So the ones that's really serious about doing something, we can let the rest of this go. And then the ones that's like-minded, y'all will be the ones sharing it with other people. Y'all will be the ones sharing it with people that's serious, and we won't be wasting no time, because you would be judging those that's coming in as well. And we'd be a unit, because we don't have no more time to waste, y'all. Me and my Mufti steady getting land. I want y'all to be a part of this. I want people to see what's going on. We don't have to be addressing no trolls or worried about nobody that's jumping on our page just because they on here, you know, for the hell of it, and then be upset when people say, man, go on out of here. You know, go on with your stuff. If you on some pride stuff or some religious stuff, do that on your own page. That's what I'll be telling all different nationalities. On your own page. Don't waste time out your day to jump on somebody's page and just be there to be a distraction, to be a grown troll. Like that shows the aptitude of people. And then these people be having jobs. It's like, man, and I'm like, don't waste your time. And so that's all I wanted to share on today's, man. It's a good day. Today, like I said, it's always a good day. I'm going to be heading back to AZ real soon. And in July, we got these private classes starting off, and it's going to be teaching so much. It's going to be packed with so much information. And if brothers and sisters want to be a part of the classes, it's only a $50 donation. If you don't want to be part of the classes, that's fine, you know, but they'll be taught on private Zoom. And it's going to start on July 17th. And the first one is Living Trust. Then in August, we got tax exempt status. September, we got nonprofit business startup. October, we got white by law. November, we got the SF 181 form. December, we got a trustee on false arrest and imprisonment. And January, we got the law governs all events. And we break that down specifically. And all that's going to be taught in our private lessons. And you get all the documents to study along. I put it in a crash course, 2 weeks. And the information that I'm going to be giving, man, is very vital. So I'm just bringing things back that I had the pleasure to do in academia, that I had to learn, that I had the pleasure to learn and be a part of. And I'm trying to bring some structure back to my people that I feel should be taught in the so-called church houses where most of all our misnomer black people go, and your grandmama go, and you force your kids to go, and it's nothing happening there. So I'm challenging people that say the people is the church. We can do the same thing, you know. We can build our online platform and we can use those funds to get a brick and mortar and show people how to do it the right way, you know. So once again, I thank y'all, you know, for your time. I really appreciate everything, but if any nobles, y'all want any pieces of literature, any books that I spoke on today, like right now, the One World Tartarians, like that's one of the books that I really requesting today. And another book, a little manuscript by J.A. Rogers is the Five Negro Presidents. Those are 2 books. It's let me see. Russian Icons is a great book, but I don't want to put too much on you at one time. Right now, the One World Tartarians is a good piece of literature that you need. You know, a lot of stuff that I was talking about is in there. A lot of fact checking is in there. A lot of fact checking is in there. So a lot of things that I talk about and books I talk about, you should be writing them down and getting them from me and building your library. The same way I do when I'm on a college campus, you know, and I get donations and I build people libraries and they have the information. Most of the people, when they listen to me, you go right back to your regular day and you don't have the information. You know, people don't have the matter-factualness, and that's how we get caught up in fugazi. Most of our people too busy watching skits all day. I'm telling you, most of our people watching skits all day when you got someone right here that just using social media to spread awareness. I use social media to spread awareness, especially to my family, my nieces and nephews, and all my classmates I went to school with. Like, come on, man. I've been courting y'all for too long. I've been courting certain people for too long. We got to go to the next level and really make an imprint. And for all the trolls, I love y'all too. That's just going to keep me going and going and going because remember, when you're doing something right, you're going to always have people disrespecting you. So I accept all that. So I like the trolls to come and continue with it because if I wasn't doing nothing right or if I wasn't ruffling no feathers with the truth because it's a double-edged blade, I wouldn't have no trolls. I wouldn't have no trolls. So I welcome all the trolls on. I'm not gonna be upset or nothing, but I'm gonna address it every time. Why? Because it must need to be addressed. Like people don't even know I'm doing an analysis. Watch. I say in a couple more months I'm gonna give y'all all the trolls that get on my page, and I'm gonna tell y'all the address and where they stay and the age group. You're gonna be like, dang. I didn't know grown people was messed up like this mentally, and I'm gonna show y'all the psychosis of it. And then I'm gonna start contacting these people live, and y'all gonna see the response these people get. Why? Because you came on my page playing. I already did my checks and balances. I have every right to do this. So I'm gonna show y'all exactly how these people be. I'm gonna troll them the same way they troll me. The same way if you was calling me and you was one of them Nigerian scam artists and I know how to get your number, I know how to reverse the camera and be like, oh, you know, and reverse the same thing you doing to me, calling me, bugging me, I'm gonna do the same thing. You know? And so I be telling people, it just shows the aptitude of grown people. And I'm gonna show y'all the age group of most of these people. I only found 2 that was kids and their parents hit me back. It was like, we want to apologize. I didn't know my son was doing all this, blah, 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 blah. But the rest, you're going to see our men. The rest of them are going to be, a lot of them are misnomer white people. It's a couple misnomer black people. But you're going to see the age group of these people. And then you're going to see on their page that they say they Christian and the churches you go to, you're going to be like, wow. And the things that they have said and the things that they have said on other people's pages, you're going to be like, wow. That's why I told y'all, man, people think so. Media, they be thinking they incognito when they be disrespectful. And I be like, man, you got a regular job, you got kids, dude. A person can destroy your whole world. Why? Because you a racist. And you telling me, oh, so you got a job and everybody at your job got to believe the same religious way you believe? That's messed up. So if you was working with a person that was a different sexual preference, you couldn't work with them. You can work with a person that was under a different religion. You couldn't have no regular job. And you damn sure couldn't work in behavioral health therapy. You couldn't. Why? Because we don't want nobody working like that around no youth and no kids or nobody that don't understand diversity. And that's what I be showing y'all. And these people be in regular life, oh, I'm a great person, I'm a teacher. No, you ain't. Not on social media, talk about Jesus is the only king and, oh, you think you this. And when you see somebody that may have something on that's representing them, the first thing you jump on social media saying this, man, we know it's a joke. And I'm going to show you, everybody on here, they're going to be hiding. And I'm going to show y'all they're going to be apologizing. Because I told y'all, this is what social media have done. This is the new world order. How? When people won't do this in real life, they jump on social media and do Twitter fingers. They be acting like they incognito. They'll write you a whole damn paragraph. And you should have did it with a whole bunch of hate. But they won't have no face attached to it. And I just said, dude, don't you know you just type all this stuff on my page? Don't you know you pinging off off a tower? And I'm gonna show y'all who these people be. This, like I said, it's always a double-edged blade with me. I'm always gonna show reality. But I hope y'all be careful out here in life. I hope you love who you are. And for my people that's melanated, because you are my people, and everybody that's not melanated, man, it's okay to be who you are. It's okay to be who you are. Because from the beginning of time, it was always death of the misnomer black messiah. They always didn't want us to know who we are. They always wanted us to think that we are different people and draw a line down our back and have us fighting each other like we Crips and Bloods. They wanted the old against the young, the light against the dark. And now social media is a multi-million-dollar industry to show us looking crazy. To show women fighting and all that, pulling all their weave. To show an ex-boxer, Anthony Adrian Bronner, he drunk all the time. Like, if he drinking like that, he gonna get cirrhosis of the liver. All the stuff we promote. For Girls Fight Club, I see girls my age, like 40 plus, like, oh man, this new Fight Girl Club, I don't like this one, I like the last one. I said, huh? I said, this is stuff we like? The same song, where my boosting people at? The scamming people. And I see women bumping it. I see women on here that act like they got jobs and all this. I see people dancing to this stuff. Like, that's the worst of us. Like, where are my scamming people at? Like, that's a theme song? Like, you got like what does this world come to? And this is what I tell people, if we don't have no limit, where am I scamming people at? And that's being played everywhere. You see misnomer black people dancing, looking stupid. And that's what we do. That's what we do. We'll stand there and record a whole bunch of women fighting, a whole bunch of middle-aged women fighting, pulling out all they weave, you know? All that, all them stomach waist that's popping off. Like muffins. You know how muffins, when you... For real, man. And that's what I be telling us. I said, man, come on, man. We got to be better than that. But I love y'all. Thank y'all for taking your time listening to me. Over and out. And if y'all need something, y'all know how to get with your boy.